curtains moving by the open frame. The street is quiet after all the rain. Coffee cooling beside my hand. Cars move slowly through the silver glass. I don't need the sunlight, I don't need a plan. Let the whole day wander any way it can. Humid morning, soft against my skin. Every little sound is setting in. Humid morning, nothing rushing through, just the room, the weather, and a thought of you. Footsteps fading somewhere down below. Water on the railing, dripping soft and slow. Pages turning, though I barely read. There is something peaceful in the air I breathe. I don't need an answer, I can't let it wait. Some things come together when we move too late. Humid morning, soft against my skin. Every little sound is settling in. Humid morning, nothing rushing through, just the room, the weather, and the thought of you. Maybe I was holding more than I could say. Maybe all this quiet helps it drift away. A bus rolls past the corner, then the road goes still. I can hear the water running down the sill. Humid morning, easy on my mind, leaving all the heavy hours far behind. Humid morning, nothing left to prove, just the air around me and the way it moves. Let the sky stay cloudy, let the windows blur. I don't mind the distance, I don't need a word. Humid morning, soft against my skin. Every little sound is settling in. Humid morning, nothing rushing through, just the room, the weather, and a thought of you. Coffee cooling, curtains moving slow. Somewhere in the distance, another shower grows. I'll stay here a little, watch the daylight bend. Nothing has to happen, nothing has to end. The porch light fades into the gray. A quiet morning leans across the day. Shoes by the doorway, still where they were. Water keeps falling soft against the curb. Nothing is calling, nothing feels late. I watch the small drops gather by the gate. Porch drizzle, easy and low, touching the garden, then letting go. Porch drizzle, cool in the air. The whole world is moving, but I can stay here. Steam from the teacup clouds up the glass. A bicycle rolls by, then disappears fast. Leaves on the railing bend with the breeze. Little silver circles rest on the trees. I don't need a reason to stay for a while. The weather feels gentle, the morning feels mild. Porch drizzle, easy and low. Touching the garden, then letting go. Porch drizzle, cool in the air. The whole world is moving, but I can stay here. Maybe the sky knows when to slow down, when to make silence settle over town. Maybe these small hours are enough for me. A chair by the doorway, a street I can see. The road turns brighter under every drop. Someone opens an umbrella, then waits at the stop. I hear a screen door close down the lane, then only the soft roof speaking with the rain. Porch drizzle, easy and low, washing the steps in a delicate glow. Porch drizzle, cool in the air. The whole world is moving, but I can stay here. No need to hurry, no place to be. The day can unfold as quietly as it needs. The cup is half empty, the clouds are still near, and somehow the quiet makes everything clear. Porch drizzle, light on the ground, soft little patterns without making a sound. Porch drizzle, slow through the blue, a calm little morning I'm sharing with you. The porch light is fading, the street starts to shine. I'll stay for a moment and let the day take its time. Street lights fading into the day. Water by the sidewalk holds a little gray. Cars pass slowly, soft along the lane, leaving silver ribbons in the morning rain. Curbside shine under quiet skies. Little pools of daylight gather where they lie. Curbside shine, moving with the street. Every passing color shimmers at my feet. A paper cup rests beside the wall. Someone folds an umbrella near the corner stall. Windows glow softly behind the misted air. The city looks gentler when the weather settles there. Nothing feels hurried, nothing feels too far. Just the sound of tires and a passing car. Curbside shine under quiet skies. Little pools of daylight gather where they lie. Curbside shine, moving with the street. Every passing color shimmers shimmers at my feet. I take the long way past the old cafe, watching every reflection bend and drift away. Red turns to amber, blue turns into white, all the little signals melting in the light. Maybe every morning doesn't need the sun. Maybe quiet weather can be enough for anyone. Curbside shine, soft along the road, carrying the colors where the water flows. Curbside shine, easy in my view, every little surface holding something new. A bicycle passes, then the lane goes still. Water from the awning runs beside the sill. Someone starts laughing underneath the shade. Then the sound grows distant as they cross the lane. I don't need a reason to keep walking slow. The street already knows where I need to go. Curbside shine, under quiet skies, little pools of daylight gather where they lie. Curbside shine, moving with the street, every passing color shimmers at my feet. By the time the clouds lift, I'll be farther down, leaving small reflections scattered through the town. Curbside shine, fading from my view, but the quiet of the morning stays a little longer too. Footsteps under the covered way, soft little echoes drift into the gray. Water keeps falling past the open side, while the narrow passage holds a quieter light. Covered walkway leading through the blue, keeping out the weather while I move on through. Covered walkway, steady, soft and slow, every sound behind me fades the farther I go. Bicycle waiting close against the wall, drops along the railing, gathers, slide and fall. Someone passes softly, carrying a bag. Their shoes leave little traces where the floor is damp. Nothing feels urgent, nothing pulls too hard, just the muted traffic moving past the yard. Covered walkway leading through the blue, keeping out the weather while I move on through. Covered walkway, steady, soft and slow, fades the farther I go. Posters by the doorway curl along the edge. Wind moves through the passage, then settles down again. A light above the stairwell flickers once or twice. The whole place feels suspended in a silver kind of light. Maybe I could linger just another minute here, watching all the distance soften and disappear. Covered walkway, open at the side, holding every footstep until it slips outside. Covered walkway, quiet in the rain, taking me a little farther down the lane. A bus moves past slowly, blurred behind the drops. Someone closes an umbrella near the corner shop. I keep walking easy with nowhere else to be. The weather moves around me without reaching me. Covered walkway leading through the blue, keeping out the weather while I move on through. Covered walkway, steady, soft and slow. Every sound behind me fades the farther I go. At the end, the daylight spreads across the street. Water on the pavement shines beneath my feet. I turn once behind me, then continue on. The echo of the walkway stays after I am gone. Laces coming loose at the edge of the street. Little drops of water gather at my feet. Cars are moving slowly past the corner light. Every silver surface shimmers in the gray. Wet sneakers walking through the day, leaving little traces that will fade away. Wet sneakers, soft against the ground, keeping time together with the weather all around. I step around a puddle, then straight through the next. Water on the pavement turns the road to glass. A bus pulls from the station, someone waves goodbye. Umbrellas drift like colors underneath the sky. Nothing feels too heavy, nothing feels too fast. I can let the morning take me where it can. Wet sneakers traces that will fade away. Wet sneakers, soft against the ground, keeping time together with the weather all around. The bakery is glowing through a clouded pane. Someone sets the chairs out, then pulls them in again. A paper bag is folded close beneath my arm. The air is cool and quiet, but the bread is warm. Maybe I should hurry, maybe I could stay, watching all the small things change along the way. Wet sneakers moving down the lane, catching every rhythm hidden in the rain. Wet sneakers, easy, worn and light, carrying the morning one step at a time. Water from the rooftops runs beside the wall. A sparrow finds a dry place underneath the stall. Someone crosses quickly, someone takes it slow. Everyone is heading somewhere I don't know. I keep to the side street where the traffic thins, listening to the quiet settling back in. Wet sneakers walking through the day, leaving little traces that will fade away. Wet sneakers, soft against the ground, keeping time together with the weather all around. By the time I reach home, the sky begins to clear. Drops remain like mirrors on the railing near. I leave my shoes beside me, close against the door, and hear the softer weather falling once more. Wet sneakers, resting for a while, holding all the places from another mile. Wet sneakers, quiet by the door, waiting for the next walk when the clouds return. Morning on the railing, light across the lane. Every passing color softens in the rain. Signals changing slowly, red to amber glow. Water holds the city in the street below. Silver crossings shining through the gray. Every little footstep moves the light away. Silver crossing, quiet under blue. All the roads are waiting for the day to move. A bus stops at the corner, doors open with a sigh. Someone lifts a collar as the cars go by. White lines on the pavement blur beneath the rain, then return in in pieces when the traffic changes. I can take my time here, nothing calls me through. The city keeps on turning softly into view. Silver crossing shining through the gray. Every little footstep moves the light away. Silver crossing, quiet under blue. All the roads are waiting for the day to move. A bicycle rolls past me, bells fade down the street. Drops along the handlebars keep a gentle beat. Storefronts hold reflections, gold against the glass. Faces come and vanish as the minutes pass. Maybe every journey starts without a sign, just a little opening at the proper time. Silver crossing glowing at my feet, holding all the colors drifting through the street. Silver crossing easy in the rain, leading me a little farther down the lane. Someone waits beside me, looking straight ahead. We don't need to speak now, nothing needs to be said. The signal turns to green light, umbrellas start to move. For a quiet moment, everyone is in tune. I step into the roadway, slow and unafraid, watching silver daylight tremble in my wake. Silver crossing, shining through the gray. Every little footstep moves the light away. Silver crossing, quiet under blue. All the roads are waiting for the day to move. Halfway to the other side, the clouds begin to thin. A softer kind of brightness settles on my skin. Behind me all the traffic starts its steady sound. Ahead a narrow side street curves beyond the town. Silver crossing fading from my view. Still the light it carried follows me on through. Silver crossing, gentle, clear and slow. One small line of morning showing where to go. Steam from the kettle rises through the room. Lines across the window blur the buildings through. I clear a small circle with the edge of my hand. Outside every rooftop loses where it ends. Fog the window, holding back the view, turning all the distance into shades of blue. Fog window covered at the edge, keeping all the weather on on the other side. A cup beside the curtain warms the wooden sill. Cars move through the crossing, slow and nearly still. Someone walks below me with a coat held high, then becomes a shadow under passing lights. I draw another pathway clear enough to see. Drops along the balcony fall toward the street. Fogged window holding back the view, turning all the distance into shades of blue. Fogged window changing with the light, making every outline fade before my the room. Pages on the table shift and settle soon. Nothing needs an answer, nothing needs a name. I can let the weather stay the way it came. One side of the window starts to clear again. Buildings find their corners through the silver rain. A bicycle is waiting underneath the tree, its reflection trembling where the road should be. Maybe all this weather only slows the view, giving hidden details time to come through. Fogged window holding back the view, turning all the distance into shades of blue. Fogged window fading with the day, every broken outline slowly finds its shade. Kettle has gone silent, the cup is nearly cold. Daylight reaches farther than it did before. Still I leave one corner covered in the mist. Some things feel more gentle when they're partly seen. Fogged window, clear enough to show the street returning slowly as the hours move on. The bench is cool beneath the covered roof. Water moves in silver lines beyond the quiet view. A bus is running late, but I don't really mind. The road keeps shining softly as the minutes pass by. Quiet shelter, holding back the rain, giving me a little room to breathe and wait again. Quiet shelter, open to the street. Every distant sound arrives a little soft to me. Folded umbrella rests beside my shoes. Drops collect along the edge in tiny shades of blue. Someone checks the timetable, then looks the other way. A bicycle rolls through the mist and disappears in gray. Nothing feels uncertain, nothing feels too long. The weather has a rhythm and I can move along. Quiet shelter, holding back the rain, giving me a little room to breathe and wait again. Quiet shelter, open to the street. Every distant sound arrives a little soft to me. Headlights on the roadway stretch across the ground. Every passing tire makes a low and even sound. The trees beyond the crossing bend and rise once more. Water traces little paths along the station floor. I watch the morning gather in the silver air. All the usual city things feel gentler from here. Quiet shelter, steady through the gray, keeping one small corner calm inside the day. Quiet shelter, simple, still and clear, letting all the noise outside grow softer to my ear. A message on my phone screen can wait another while. I place it face down on the seat and watch the changing light. Someone laughs beneath the awning far across the lane. Then the sound is carried off and only leaves the rain. Maybe every busy day needs somewhere in between, a little pause beneath the roof where nothing has to mean. Quiet shelter, holding back the rain, giving me a little room to breathe and wait again. Quiet shelter, open to the street. Every distant sound arrives a little soft to me. Bus appears around the bend with windows glowing warm. People rise and gather bags as it comes through the storm. I stand but stay a moment before I step away, looking at the empty seat that held the quiet day. Quiet shelter, fading from my view. Still the calm I found beneath it follows me on through. Quiet shelter, soft behind the rain, a little place to rest before the road begins again. silence through the fading night. One becomes another, then they disappear, leaving little pathways, bright and almost clear. Water trails sliding out of view, drawing changing patterns in a shade of blue. Water trails across the glass, holding every moment just before it passes. Coffee on the table, steam against the air. Traffic turns to color somewhere over there. A figure with an umbrella crosses through the gray. Then the blurred reflection slowly fades away. I don't need to follow every changing line. Some things feel much lighter when they take their time. Water trails sliding out of view, drawing changing patterns in a shade of blue. Water trails across the glass, holding every moment just before it passes. One line bends beside me, one falls straight and slow, meeting near the corner, then deciding where to go. Passing headlights enter, silver for a while, then the room grows warmer under amber light. Maybe all the distance doesn't feel so far when the weather turns it into moving art. Water trails running down the pane, carrying the city through the steady rain. Water trails shifting with the light, making ordinary streets feel different for a while. Pages on the windowsill lift and settle down. Water keeps on tracing little roads across the town. I let the cup grow colder, I let the minutes stay. There is nothing missing from this simple kind of day. Water trails sliding out of view, drawing changing patterns in a shade of blue. Water trails across the glass, holding every moment just before it passes. The clouds begin to brighten, though the rain remains. Every line grows thinner as it reaches down the pane. Soon the glass will clear again, the street will find its shape. For now the moving water can carry time away. Water trails fading one by one, leaving only traces of the path they drew. Water trails moving with the day until the final shimmer slowly slips away. Streetlight bends across the lane. Colors break apart beneath the rain. Shop signs tremble under passing wheels. Every painted surface changes how it feels. Gray reflection caught along the road, carrying the city in a shifting glow. Gray reflection drawn beneath the sky, turning every movement into something bright. A taxi leaves a ribbon of red. Headlights scatter where the water spreads. Footsteps cross, then disappear. Faces blur as they pass near. I take the longer way past the corner store, watching all the colors move across the floor. Gray reflection caught along the road, carrying the city in a shifting glow. Gray reflection drawn beneath the sky, turning every movement into something bright. The signal changes, amber into green. Each familiar building wears a different sheen. A bus rolls onward, windows filled with gold. Every passing second shifts the scene below. Nothing stays in place, nothing looks the same. Every shape is altered by the falling rain. Gray reflection running through the street, breaking into pieces under passing feet. Gray reflection holding every hue, showing me a version I have never knew. Near the old bookshop, letters bend in light. Posters by the doorway flicker into sight. Someone folds an umbrella beneath the striped awning. Water from the rooftop keeps the whole street moving. I stop for a moment, then continue down, leaving all the colors scattered through the town. Gray reflection caught along the road, carrying the city in a shifting glow. Gray reflection drawn beneath the sky, turning every movement into something bright. The rain begins to lessen, traffic gathers speed. All the broken colors stretch and then recede. Storefronts find their edges, windows lose their blur, but the road keeps holding traces of what were. Gray reflection fading from just a shimmer after all the rain. Gray reflection slipping out of you. Still the city carries something altered through. Neon gathers beneath the cars, storefront colors stretch into the dark. A bicycle passes through a ribbon red, headlights cross behind it, then the glow is spread. Umbrellas cluster near the station sign, shadows overlap there for a moment's time. I keep walking past the corner stand, watching all the colors scatter where I am. Street reflections run along the lane, turning every doorway into light again. One brief shimmer moves beneath my feet, carrying the skyline through the narrow street. Cafe window holds a golden frame. People lean together while the weather changes. Farther down the sidewalk, traffic starts to clear. Water keeps the brightness after cars disappear. Red becomes amber, blue dissolves in white. Each familiar corner wears a different light. A bus arrives with windows glowing warm. Doors unfold before me, then close against the storm. Someone crosses quickly, holding flowers high. Petals catch the color from the signs nearby. I turn another corner where the buildings fade. The road becomes a canvas under every shade. Street reflections run along the lane, turning every doorway into light again. One brief shimmer moves beneath my feet, carrying the skyline through the narrow street. Letters from a bookshop tremble on the ground. A passing pair of footsteps breaks the image down. Nothing stays together, nothing holds its place. Every passing movement gives the road a different face. The rain begins to lessen, painted lines recede. Storefronts find their edges as the traffic gathers speed. crossing while the signs grow dim, leaving borrowed colors floating at the rim. One last shimmer fades beneath the light, and the city keeps on moving through the silver night. Rain on the railing runs toward the street. Shoes near the doorway wait by my feet. The cafe's closing, chairs turn around. One final bus moves through the town. Folding umbrella resting in my hand, holding half the weather I carried through the day. One turn of the handle, one click at the side. The whole open sky is gathered up inside. A paper bag leans against my coat. Steam from the bakery rises in the cold. Someone at the corner waves before they leave. Their steps cross the pavement, then vanish down the street. The signal changes from red into green. Headlights draw a pathway across the silver sheen. I wait beneath the awning until the traffic clears, watching drops collect along the edge. Folding umbrella resting in my hand, holding half the weather I carried through the day. One turn of the handle, one click at the side. The whole open sky is gathered up inside. The fabric gathers into narrow lines. Water leaves a pattern dark against the light. I fasten the small strap around the folded frame, then place it by the window beside the entrance pane. A coat over my shoulder, a ticket in my sleeve. The room behind me glows as I prepare to leave. The door opens outward, air enters with the rain. Cars send broken colors across the polished lane. Folding umbrella tucked beneath my arm, keeping every trace of the weather I have known. One turn of the corner, one street farther on, the clouds begin to loosen before the day is gone. I reach the narrow building where the hallway light is warm, leave my shoes beside the mat and listen to the storm. The umbrella stands open for a moment by the door. Drops fall from the edges onto clear again. But tonight it keeps the shape of everywhere I've been. Folding umbrella, waiting by the wall, holding all the distance between each scattered fall. One final bead of water travels down the frame, then disappears beneath it without leaving a name. I turn the lamp down lower, set the kettle near. Outside tires move and fade before they're clear. The room becomes familiar, the day releases me. And the folded weather rests where it should be. Water gathers along the edge, then falls in rhythm past the garden hedge. The street keeps moving beyond the shade. Tires leave a shimmer where the light is laid. I stay beneath these while the weather passes through, watching every rooftop fade into the blue. A folded paper rests inside my coat. Ink begins to feather where a drop has soaked. Someone turns the corner with flowers in a bag. The colors lean together beneath a checkered flag. Under the eaves, the whole day narrows down to water on the bricks and footsteps through the town. Under the eaves, I let the minutes fall. Nothing asks an answer, nothing asks at all. Steam leaves the kitchen through a vent above. Bread warms the entrance with a scent I know. A cat waits near the drain pipe, dry against the wall. Its eyes follow the traffic, but it never moves at all. The wind changes direction, drops reach past the line. I move a little closer where the wooden beams align. Across the road a tailor turns the window sign. Lamps appear behind the glass, one after another in time. I stay beneath the eaves with nowhere else to be. The storm keeps rearranging everything I see. A scooter cuts the corner, sending water wide. A child lifts both feet and laughs from inside. There is something simple in waiting out the rain. Every passing figure enters, then is changed. Under the eaves, the city drifts along. Each roof becomes a drumhead, each gutter finds a song. I unfold the paper, though the words have blurred. Some messages grow clearer without a single word. The rain begins begins to thin out from a curtain to a thread. Sunlight finds the chimney tops and touches them instead. Then I step beyond the shelter into the rinsed air. The road still holds a brightness that was not waiting there. Under the eaves I leave the weather behind, but carry all its changes in the corners of my mind. Under the eaves one moment held its place, then opened to the street again and let me walk away. Headlights bend across the road, gold and crimson spill below. Water gathers near the curb, every passing wheel disturbs the glow. Pavement glow beneath the rain, shifting with the traffic down the lane. One bright color breaks in two, then returns in another hue. A corner diner dims its sign. Cups are stacked behind the blinds. Someone leaves with flowers wrapped, holding them above the splashing cars. I take the route beside the shops, where every doorway catches drops. The city changes underfoot, familiar streets where something new. Pavement glow along the ground, drawing out the colors all around. Red turns amber, white turns blue. Every moving light comes drifting through. A taxi pauses near the stand. Water streams around its tires. The driver lowers half the glass, then joins the line of distant lights. A paper receipt clings to the curb, ink dissolving word by word. I watch it travel with the flow toward the place the gutters go. Nothing here can hold its shape. Each reflection bends and breaks. Still the street keeps every shade long enough to light the way. Pavement glow beneath my feet, carrying the skyline through the street. One brief shimmer stays in view, then another takes its place anew. The bakery shutters close at 9, warm light slips between the lines. A woman turns her collar high, while a bicycle passes by. The crossing signal starts to blink, colors gather at the brink. traffic slows, watching all the brightness flow. Somewhere farther music plays faintly through a doorway frame. Then the door is pulled inside and only rain remains outside. Pavement glow running thin, drawing every building back again. Broken windows paint the road with borrowed light. The water holds. The clouds begin to lift apart. Traffic moves a little fast. Reflections shorten one by one as the rainfall comes undone. Still beneath the final cars, small bright pieces trail behind. I turn toward the narrow block where the lamps are switching off. Pavement glow fades from sight, leaving silver in the night. Every color once below travels with me as I go. Ink along the edges, feathers into blue. A name becomes a shadow where the water moved. The envelope is open, creased beneath my hand. Half the final sentence is difficult to understand. Damp letters resting by the pane, keeping what was written and what the weather changed. Damp letters faded at the seams, holding on to pieces that are clearer than they seem. The paper curls inward near the lower side. One small line of silver runs across the date. I try to read the ending, but the words have slipped, leaving only traces where the fountain pen once pressed. The kettle clicks behind me, traffic passes low. Headlights brush the ceiling, then continue down the road. Damp letters resting by the pane, keeping what was written and what the weather changed. Damp letters faded at the seams, holding on to pieces that are clearer than they seem. Maybe every message changes once it's sent. Some arrive untouched, some carry where they've been. Maybe all the blurred lines say enough somehow, more than perfect sentences could ever tell me now. find a line still readable near the folded side. Take the road that feels like yours, the rest is washed in white. I leave it there a moment without filling in all the missing language. Doesn't need an end. Damp letters lying in the light, every broken sentence still carrying its time. Damp letters worn but not erased, even when the water has rearranged the page. The city starts again while I remain inside, reading what is absent in the spaces between lines. I fold them once more carefully along the older crease, slide them in a book where the pages stay protected. One last mark of water darkens near the name, then dries into the paper and becomes part of the page. Neon gathers inside the water, red from the market, gold from the corner. Tires pass over, then leave it still. The surface closes and mirrors the hill. Puddle lights tremble at my feet, shaping all the colors from the passing street. One step breaks them, one step lets them form. Every scattered shimmer returns after the storm. A bus pulls closer, windows lit within. Faces drift across me, then disappear again. Blue from the pharmacy, amber from the train, both become a moving line inside the gathered rain. I take the side road where the traffic thins, watching every color fold and start again. Puddle lights tremble at my feet, shaping all the colors from the passing street. One step breaks them, one step lets them form. Every scattered shimmer returns after the storm. Bicycle rolls through, weaving silver rings. Each one reaches outward, then forgets everything. The bakery is closing, chairs are stacked inside. Warmth remains behind the glass while water fills the night. Nothing holds forever, nothing stays aligned. Still the road keeps finding new ways to catch the light. Puddle lights spread along the lane, on their frames. A taxi slows beside me, yellow crosses red. Then a passing wheel breaks the light again. The rainfall starts to loosen from a sheet into a thread. Lamps regain their outlines overhead. I turn toward my doorway where the hallway glows. Behind me all the painted light continues down the road. Puddle lights fading from my view, holding on to fragments of red and gold and blue. A ring from the teacup darkens near the spine. Letters at the margin blur into a line. The corner lifts slightly where the water dried, leaving pale impressions along the other side. Watermarked page resting in the book, holding every sentence the weather almost took. A trace beneath the paper, a shadow in the grain. Part of what was written, part of what remains. I turn back to the chapter where the ink begins to fade. Somewhere in the middle, the meaning starts to change. Photograph falls loosely from between the sheets. Summer on a staircase, sunlight at our feet. The date is barely visible, the faces still are clear. Time has touched the edges, but left the center here. Watermarked page creased along the side, keeping every passage the water could not hide. A line I used to overlook stands out beneath the stain. Sometimes what is damaged becomes easier to name. The final paragraph is missing where the paper turned to white. Only scattered letters remain beneath the light. I could fill the spaces with anything I choose, but the page feels more complete with something left to lose. Watermarked page worn along the fold, carrying an older voice inside the paper grain. Not erased completely, not preserved the same. Every mark of water has entered through the name. I close the cover halfway, but leave one finger there, caught between the ending and the words no longer clear. Maybe that is why I keep returning here, not to find the missing lines, but to see what still appears. Watermarked page resting where it fell, holding what the ink once knew without the need to tell. I slide the photograph back in beneath the damaged sheet. The staircase and the faded ink finally meet. Then I close the book completely and place it on the shelf. Not hidden, not forgotten, just resting by itself. Headlights open across the road. Gold breaks apart where the water flows. Storefront letters bend beneath the cars. Red and white reflections stretch into the dark. Slick asphalt shining under every wheel, turning all the city lights into something unreal. Slick asphalt running past my feet, holding every doorway underneath the street. A bicycle passes near the pharmacy sign. Blue moves through the gutter in a long uneven line. Someone leaves the bakery with a paper bag. Steam follows for a moment, then disappears behind. The crossing changes amber into green. Painted lines are trembling through the polished sheen. I walk beside the buildings where the traffic thins, watching every image break and form again. Slick asphalt shining under every wheel, turning all the city lights into something unreal. One passing shadow cuts the colors through, then the road returns them in another shape and hue. A laundromat is glowing halfway down the block. White shirts turn in circles behind the clouded glass. A flower stall is closing, canvas folded tight. Petals keep the water caught along their sides. Nothing holds together for more than half a breath. Every moving surface rewrites what came before. The road looks deeper than the street should be, as though another city runs underneath my feet. Slick asphalt drawing out the night, carrying the buildings in broken lines of light. Slick asphalt stretching down the lane, keeping every color long after passing rain. The weather starts to loosen, drops grow far apart. Windows find their edges, signs regain their shape. I turn beyond the crossing toward the narrow stairs. Behind me all the brightness still gathers everywhere. One last beam slides across the ground, then the blacktop settles when the traffic dies down. Slick asphalt fading from my sight, holding all the distance inside the borrowed lane. Water leaves the awnings in a silver thread. Chalk along the curbside runs where colors spread. Shop doors open after all the rain. Every brick and window finds its shape again. Wash streets clear beneath the sky. Summer dust has drifted out of sight. Wash streets cool beneath my shoes. Every familiar corner wearing something new. A florist lifts the canvas from the wooden stand. Droplets rest on petals gathered in her hand. Crates beside the grocer darken at the seams. Peaches near the doorway brighten through the steam. A dog shakes off the weather near a painted gate. Its owner starts to laugh and nearly drops the leash. I take the road behind them, past the empty swings. One chain moves above the sand, then settles in the breeze. Wash streets clear beneath the sky. Summer dust has drifted out of sight. Wash streets cool beneath my shoes. Every familiar corner wearing something new. Laundry on a balcony lifts above the lane. Water from the drain pipe draws a winding stain. A barber sweeps the entrance with an older broom. Someone rolls a shutter and daylight enters through. Children draw new circles where the chalk was lost. Yellow, green, and violet cross the drying wall. A baker brings a tray out to the cooling rack. Warm bread meets the damp air and fills the avenue. The clouds move toward the river. Rooftops start to dry. One clear patch of color opens in the sky. Wash streets stretch from block to block, giving every doorway room enough to wait. Wash streets carry me along through a city starting over after weather has moved on. Water taps the limestone beneath the garden wall, leaving darker circles where the narrow droplets fall. Moss along the edges deepens into green. Every mark of weather settles in between. Dripstone cool beneath my hand, shaped by countless hours no one ever planned. Dripstone worn along the face, keeping every season in its weathered grain. A copper pipe above it leans beside the gate. One clear bead keeps forming, then releases from its weight. Fern leaves catch the splashing near the lower stair. Rings move through the basin and disappear from there. Nothing changes quickly, nothing moves at once. Even stone is altered by the lightest touch. Dripstone cool beneath my hand, shaped by countless hours no one ever planned. Dripstone worn along the face, keeping every season in its weathered blend. A chipped ceramic planter rests against the wall. Petals hold the water until the next drops fall. A sparrow drinks beside it from the shallow edge, then rises through the branches beyond the garden hedge. Light enters the courtyard in a narrow line, catching on the basin for a moment at a time. I trace the uneven surface with the edge of my sleeve. Every hollow carries what persistence leaves. Dripstone resting by the stair, holding all the weather that is gathered there. Dripstone steady through the years, turning every rainfall into something clear. The gate moves with the wind, fallen leaves collect. Water finds the channels it has always kept. I cross beyond the courtyard while the tapping carries on. The stone remains behind me long after I am gone. Keys inside the lining tap against my side. A folded paper ticket bends beneath the ride. Drops along the zipper gather near the seam. Everything I'm carrying stays tucked in between. Raincoat pocket holding what I need. One small place of shelter moving down the street. Raincoat pocket close against my hand, keeping every loose thing where I know it lands. A coin from the bakery rests beside a note. Ink has crossed the corner where the paper's soaked. Someone passes quickly under striped cafe lights. Water slips from awnings in thin, uneven lines. I reach inside for nothing, just to feel what's there. A button, thread, and receipt from somewhere near the square. Raincoat pocket holding what I need. One small place of shelter moving with my hand, keeping every loose thing where I know it lands. The crossing turns to green, shoes move from the curb. Traffic sends a low rush beneath the passing words. A flower stem is broken near the market stand. I lift it from the pavement and carry it in hand. The weather starts to lessen, drops grow far apart. I fold the ticket smaller and place it near my heart. Raincoat pocket, weighted by the day, holding all the fragments I forgot to throw away. Raincoat pocket, warm against my side, keeping every small thing through the changing sky. By the time I reach home, the fabric starts to dry. I empty out the contents beneath the hallway light. Keys beside the doorway, coins across the tray. One damp folded message I decide to keep another day. Raincoat pocket, hanging by the wall, still shaped by everything it carried through it Rain runs down the shutters in a cobalt line. Balconies are fading past the laundry signs. A radio behind me turns the room to gold, while the summer weather settles in the road. Monsoon blue across the avenue, every roof and railing wears a deeper hue. Monsoon blue gathered in the air, moving through the city and resting everywhere. A paper fan lies open beside a cooling cup. Water fills the courtyard, then slowly rises up. Someone drags a chair in from the cafe door. Sandals leave a pattern across the tiled floor. The market signs are glowing through a sheet of rain. Letters bend and brighten, then find their shape again. Monsoon blue across the avenue, every roof and railing wears a deeper hue. Monsoon blue gathered in the air, moving through the city and resting everywhere. Train crosses the river behind a silver veil. Windows pass like lanterns along the distant rail. I watch from the doorway with my sleeves rolled high, cool briefly, then turns back outside. Nothing feels abandoned, nothing disappears. Every covered color returns when weather clears. The rainfall starts to loosen near the end of day. Water leaves the rooftops in a thinner spray. Monsoon blue fading from the street, leaving darker gardens and coolness at my feet. Monsoon blue lingering in view, the whole city carries one last shade of blue. Rest above the bench, spilling through the railing, past the metal edge. Water threads the roadway beyond the covered side. Headlamps move in ribbons, then loosen in the night. One small square of brightness hangs above the street, holding back the darkness where the raindrops meet. A timetable is curling near the lower frame. Someone checks the minutes, then looks away again. A canvas bag beside me darkens at the seam. Every passing vehicle shakes the silver screen. The route number appears far beyond the bend, floats across the wet road, then disappears again. Warm against the blue, steady overhead, casting out a circle where the weather spreads. A moth circles the fixture, then rests along the wall. Water from the gutter keeps a measured fall. Two people share the corner, leaving space between. Their umbrellas drip together onto the concrete sheen. The storm begins to loosen, traffic settles down, reflections lose their edges along the sleeping town. That amber glow remains beside the open lane, keeping one small refuge bright against the rain. The bus arrives before me, doors unfold with air. I step into the brightness and leave the bench back there. Through the clouded window, the covered roof grows small, but one last pool of color stays behind us all. The thunder moves farther beyond the apartment roofs. Water slips from cables in bright uneven loops. Traffic waits below me, held behind the light. For one suspended minute, the whole road loses sound. Then the storm pauses between one breath and two, leaving every doorway open to the view. Nothing has the clouds have done. A shopkeeper steps outside and looks along the lane, checks the folded awning, then listens for the rain. Someone lifts a bicycle from beneath the stairs, drops fall from the basket and darken both their sleeves. The trees beside the crossing keep trembling after wind. Each leaf holds a silver edge before it turns again. For a moment even traffic seems to wait and see whether all the weather will return across the street. Cloud opens above the water tower. Light reaches the brickwork for less than half an hour. Curtains move in windows 3 floors overhead. A radio starts playing where the thunder used to spread. I step beyond the doorway without opening my coat. The road is still reflecting every lamp the storm had caught. No one starts to hurry, no one trusts the sky. Umbrellas stay half open as people wander by. Then one drop touches the railing near my hand. Another finds the pavement and darkens where I stand. The pause begins to narrow. The wind returns once more. Papers lift beside the market and scatter from the door. I turn back toward the shelter as the rooftops lose their light. The first broad line of rainfall moves slowly into sight. Still, that brief opening remains inside the day, a space between the weather before it's swept away. Water leaves the rooftops in a thinning line. Branches lift their weight and settle into place. Storefront glass is clearer than it was before. Colors return slowly along the avenue. After the shower, the city opens wide. Every brick and railing holds a cleaner light. A florist sets the buckets back beside the door. Petals keep the droplets gathered at their cores. Someone rolls a bicycle out from under shade. Tires draw a narrow path across the drying lane. The crossing fills again with footsteps and umbrellas, folded now and carried loosely at their sides. Air moves through the market, cool against the skin. Paper signs stop trembling as the wind grows thin. A child reaches downward to touch the final stream, then runs toward the playground where the swings begin. Windows open up pieces drift below. Linen on the balcony starts to rise and flow. Patches of reflection remain beside the curb, holding broken pieces of the signs above. I take the longer stair past the library wall. Ivy shines against the brick where beads of water fall. The clouds move toward the river, leaving room behind. One pale strip of daylight widens through the sky. After the shower, the avenue feels new. Every hidden detail comes returning into view. A baker lifts the doorway, warmth enters the air. Chairs return to tables outside the corner cafe. Nothing has been altered, yet nothing looks the same. The city keeps a brightness left behind by rain. I reach the final crossing without a place to be. The road ahead is drying under moving leaves. Behind me, water glimmers in channels near the stone, while the town continues as though it always knew. After the shower, the day begins again. Not with any promise, just a clearing in the rain. Sunlight reaches across the floor. Water slips from awnings outside the store. Puddles keep the colors left from passing signs, while the warmer weather returns between the lines. A bicycle rolls slowly past the flower stand. Droplets shake from petals onto someone's hand. The avenue feels wider after all the rain. Every brick and window finds its shape again. Rinsed afternoon, clear along the street. Summer heat has faded into something light. Rinsed afternoon, open to the blue. Every familiar corner wearing something new. A baker lifts the shutters, chairs return outside. Linen from the balconies moves above the lane. Children cross the pavement where the water thins. Yellow chalk and violets start to show again. I follow past the market toward the library wall. Ivy holds the final drops before they fall. A warm breeze reaches through the drying trees, carrying the smell of bread along the street. One pale strip of color opens in the sky. I turn another corner with nowhere I must be. The road keeps all the brightness left behind for me. Water near the curbside glimmers once or twice. Then the daylight gathers and carries it from sight. The town resumes its rhythm, doors and voices blend. Nothing feels dramatic, just beginning again.